looking for a proper Dom Kane open to close set. Did you check out Matt Lang's Isolated album? What is your opinion of Bitcoin? What learning resources would you recommend for learning about the business of music? But anyway, that's a whole different rant for another day. Hey guys, welcome to the Kane audio vlog. It is Friday. It's time for another Ask Me Anything. Usual rules apply. Comment anything you want below this video and I'll get back to you in next week's video. Before I look at last week's video, is there any house admin? Yes, I've just updated the Spotify playlist. So go check that out. It's free. I don't think it's quite as long this week. Hour and a quarter. So yeah, not quite as long as usual, but there are some great tracks in there, including one from our good friend Ash. Shout out to Ash. That whole Clairvoyance release is amazing. I was just playing it before recording this video. I think that's it for house admin. Nothing major has happened this week in my world of music industry stuff. Not that I'm aware of anyway, but then for those of you that know me, I kind of lock myself out of that world anyway. So let's have a look at last week's video, how to generate income. Ask Me Anything 127. Also, apologies, I'm looking at the camera now and I feel like it's just too late to even change anything, but I feel like the screen on the camera looks a little darker than usual, but I have been playing with the camera this week. As you may or may not have noticed, the intro to this video is slightly different. So yeah, I'll apologize for that in advance just in case. If it's not, then that was just a waste of breath. There we go. I'm filming this slightly earlier than usual again this week, so I'm on the coffee, not the beer. But if you're drinking a bit, I hope you're enjoying it. Right, let's have a look this week. FanFan87, Salut Dom, Khabib or Khabib. High five. You must be a friend with Draft, liking UFC that much. Yes, I am friends with Draft, otherwise known as Liam, and he is a top bloke. And yes, he is very much a UFC fan also. Speaking of Circle, I hope you have watched the Sebastian Lerger live in front of the Egypt pyramids. He did a complete live set with pre-programmed beats but controlling 9 synths big modular thing. Okay, interesting. I haven't seen that, but I have seen the thumbnail. It's come up in my feed, so it's probably one that will keep coming up in my feed and I will check it out at some point. I noticed Circle are now doing like little 5-6 minute videos as well. I think I've only seen one, maybe two of them. I from what I can gather, I've just had them on in the background, but I gather they're promoting like a single or an artist or whatever rather than a whole live set, which is equally cool, to be honest. I noticed they had NTO on there, which is how I managed to see it. I've seen Eric Prydz at Printworks last February. Even with speaking of his music, the venue is so impressive. Yes, I've seen lots and lots of videos of Printworks and it just looks like an incredible venue, to be honest. So Eric Prydz is probably a great one to go and watch there. It's honestly the most amazing warehouse I ever experienced. I'm ready to travel from France to Printworks just to be there again. Looking for a proper Dom Kane open to close set. That would be nice. Not going to happen though. I doubt there'd ever be a Dom Kane just opening set, to be honest. There, I think, I don't know. Who knows? But, well, who knows when any set is going to be ever anywhere. But yeah, did you check out Matt Lang's Isolated album? It's like the dark side of artificial roots in terms of ambience, but same love about details in the sound. I have checked out the trailer. I saw him post it the other day. And it sounds really cool. If I'm totally honest, I was more... I don't know. Okay, I don't know how it's worked. This is so him posting the trailer was the first I had heard of the isolated album. Is it? But it came across as a documentary, so I kept getting sucked into the video and then going, oh, the music's cool, and then thinking, oh yeah, no, this is about the music. So, which I hope he wouldn't take offense to that, because I mean it in a good way, in that it works in perfect harmony with the visuals. So yeah, for that reason, it sounds like a really interesting album. It would be very interesting to hear it without the video, and I guess only then I could have an opinion on it. But yeah, I will no doubt check it out. It does sound good. Deadly Custard, you want to get yourself a trade, son. I remember laughing at that at the time, but I don't know what I said that commanded that comment. I can't remember now, but there we go. Fart Simpson, hey old man shouting at clouds, loving the new album. Interesting that Fart Simpson comments when I'm talking about old man shouting at clouds, because it was indeed a Simpsons reference. Loving the new album. Number 7 is pretty dope. Number 7 is that which one is that? God, is this sad that I have to search my own album? Artists, Dom Kane, latest releases, number 7. Oh, Liquid Dreams. Okay, I was thinking of track 6. Don't press that. Thank you very much then. Well, I mean, either way, thank you very much, to be honest. But yeah, there we go. Anywho, what is your opinion of Bitcoin? Mixed. My opinion is very mixed on Bitcoin. As a technology, I think blockchain in general is fantastic. I think when it comes to things like, there was one, I can't remember what it was called now, but it was for cars, and the idea was sold to me as so for anyone that doesn't understand or know anything about Bitcoin, I'm going to try and give a terrible explanation. It's far more complicated than what I'm about to say, but the very simplified version is that with a bank, the bank controls things like the interest rates and the history and the transactions, and the bank does everything for you, and you tell the bank, I'd like to pay this person this amount of money, and the bank does it for you and probably takes a cut or whatever. That's kind of how banks work. We all know that. With blockchain finance, the idea is that we all control the ledger, we all have the accounts, and we all have access to every transaction ever, and we all authorize transactions as they happen. So I tell the world, the net, the matrix, I want to pay this person some money, and the hive mind come together and make that transaction happen. That's the very, very basic of sort of transactionals. And the idea is that we all, if every single one of us has a copy of this entire history of transactions, then it's much, much easier for us all to backtrack and check transactions and make sure that they did indeed occur. And therefore, it's a lot harder to have things like fraudulent transactions. So based on that idea of blockchain, I saw one that was about keeping a track of vehicle histories. So if you're buying a new car, or a second-hand car I should say, you can check, has insurance been paid up, is there any outstanding finance on it, what service and works was done. If all the mechanics in the world kept a copy of this blockchain car history thing, then every time you go and take your car for a service, it gets added to the blockchain, and you come out with much better values of cars, basically. So I think my opinion on Bitcoin as a technology, of blockchain as a technology, is fantastic. I think there are so many amazing uses for it. For Bitcoin itself, I think that because it was kind of, the goat of cryptocurrency, I think it'll always have a place. However, I think it's a little bit slow, and I think it's a little bit cumbersome and a little bit complicated, and so I don't think it will ever really replace normal fiat money. But that's Bitcoin itself. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe one day there is some sort of cryptocurrency that takes over, but I think we're a long way from that, to be honest. I mean, based on my music industry experience, look how long it took for major record labels to get involved with things like streaming services to try and combat piracy. They lost 20 years of potential income streams because they couldn't pull their socks up. I can't imagine the finance industry really getting with the times anytime soon. So I think that's my kind of brief opinion on Bitcoin, but in general I'm all for it. I have some Bitcoin, albeit a very small amount, myself, and various other cryptos as well, because I believe in them enough for that. So yeah, there we go. Silver Dragon, hi Dom. What learning resources would you recommend for learning about the business of music? Books, courses, websites? How about how things work, like marketing, royalties, different people involved, independent route, and labels, etc. Thank you. That's a really good question. I saw this one come through earlier this week, and it made me think. I don't know of. So when it comes to things like music production tips and techniques, I'll recommend companies like Sonic Academy, because they have great forums, they have great users, they have great tutors, they have everything, and it's all there as one resource, and I think that's fantastic. In terms of industry workings, I think that's a really tricky one. And I honestly don't know. So I have a book in the house called How to Succeed in the Music Business or Music Industry. Can't remember, but it's a white cover with big, bold, red and black text. You can't miss it. So have a look on Amazon for that. Let me have a look as well, actually. How to Succeed in... Still not coming up as suggested. In the music business is... Yeah, there we go. How to Succeed in the Music Business. So I'm seeing that. So in all honesty, I don't know how out of date this would be now. So the latest version, by the looks of it, is 10th of March 2002. So we're looking at something that's 20 years old. So there wouldn't have been streaming 20 years ago. The internet would have been a new thing at the time. So in all honesty, a lot of this will be out of date, but I think I would still recommend the book, unless someone can recommend a newer version of it or something. But I think in all honesty, I'd probably still recommend this book, based on the fact that it gave you a rough idea of contracts, what kind of thing to expect in contracts, and what kind of things to look for in contracts. It gave a brief explanation of how to negotiate record deals and things like that. Now, you got to be careful and read it all with a pinch of salt, because, like I say, it's probably all out of date to an extent, but the theory is still there. So you might find in some of the contracts it would say, you'd be lucky to get 18%. Whereas in reality these days, it's more like 50-50. you'll probably also see some, talking about advances on record deals. I think, in this day and age, they're kind of unheard of. They still happen, and in fact, a friend of mine was telling me about a song only a few weeks ago that got signed to a record label I won't mention for obvious reasons, but this track went on to do very well, and it's deep house, generic copy paste track. It's not my cup of tea, but I can see the appeal. It was catchy and hooky and whatever, and it ended up in some sort of bidding war. There were 2-3 labels trying to bid for it, and ended up, was it 100 or 150,000 pounds advance? Either way, a substantial amount of money for one song as a single, from an artist I hadn't heard of. So, these things still happen, but I think, if I'm honest, if you're making that kind of music and you probably already know where you stand, you're probably doing okay in the industry if you're getting those sorts of offers anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good question, and I hope maybe someone can comment below in this video and tell us where these resources are, because I think that would be good. I think one of the tricky things is, and I've said this before in some of my videos, we're in the electronic music industry. For some reason, we're all expected to be the musician, the composer, the engineer, the producer, the director, the marketing guru, the social media person, the A&R, the record label, the mastering engineer. We're expected to be everything, and I really don't think that should be the case. I think you need to, you, the viewer, need to think about what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. Find your weaknesses, accept your weaknesses, and get someone else to do that bit, because that's how life works. If you were running a super successful car showroom sales place, you're not going to do all the accounts yourself every day. If you're making a success of selling cars, if you're a great salesman, you're wasting your time doing accounts. Get an accountant to do the accounts. Why should it be any different in the music industry? If you're a great composer or a great mastering engineer, swap jobs, get the other one to do the bit that you're not so good at. I think that's kind of the point. So, but I still think that it's worth knowing about these things. It's still worth, I would say my weakest point is probably marketing these days. But actually, I think having a good understanding of how it works and whatever, and using things to your advantage is a good idea. So I do think it's worth finding resources on these things. But yeah, it's kind of tricky to find out what these things are. I guess the best resource that I know of is these videos. Watch these videos, because people do ask questions, and feel free to ask more specific questions on if there's something specific you want to know about marketing or royalties or different people involved or independent route or labels or whatever. Yeah, thank you very much. Moving on, CHI or Chi or Key, who knows? Definitely there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in the entertainment industry, particularly Cocon mirrors, lol. Yes, do you know what? There's not so much these days, though, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure it's rife, but I don't think it'll ever beat the old days, which is a good thing, I think. I know people joke about what they now call business techno and whatever, and I see a lot of old-timey, friends who are old-timey producers and DJs and whatever, and they slag off the new clean-cut Instagram producers, but I kind of feel like, well, you know what? They're being professional and they're getting stuff done, so maybe we shouldn't be complaining. But anyway, that's a whole different rant for another day. Finally, Marat Rados Hi Dom, great video. I agree with you when you said that even if you don't make any money, focus on making music that you like and not making a genre that you don't like. That's one of the worst things that you can do to yourself. Anyways, have a good one. I've got no questions for now. Just wanted to express my thoughts. Cheers, Khabib. High five. I didn't hope I didn't screw up the word. No, you didn't. You got it right. And for anyone that cares, you probably already know, but I'm going to say it anyway. Congratulations to Khabib, because it was one hell of a fight, and just a great event all round. That, my friends, is it for this week. My camera hasn't even cut out, so I know it's under 30 minutes. Yeah, that is it. If you've made it this far into the video, then comment the word technology and you'll get a high five in next week's video. Yeah, I really don't have anything else to say. I feel like I haven't really had much of a rant this week, but there we go. I'll see you same time next week. Cheers.